My open letter to Steven Bartlett to stop spreading misinformation now has over 500,000 views. So firstly, thank you to everyone for the support so far. But the obvious follow-up question is, why has this resonated so strongly with so many people? And I feel the answer to that, Steven, is that people want the truth. We are fed up with living in a world of sensationalized claims where the primary purpose of someone's social media post is to get clicks at the expense of the truth, promoting controversial opinions that attract attention in order to boost notoriety and fame. This is what I feel your show is doing. To illustrate my point, I'm going to use a comparison to a fellow podcasting titan, Chris Williamson, and his Modern Wisdom podcast. Now, before I do this, I want to ask you a direct question, Steven. What is it you value? Because it feels like you value status, notoriety, and playing the media growth game at all costs. But comparing your podcast to the likes of Chris Williamson's, it feels like he values education, truth, and integrity, all while experiencing incredible growth as a podcaster. Steven, you started your podcast in the business and entrepreneur space, but through personal interest, you ventured into talking about nutrition and health. So in my opinion, you now have a responsibility to provide advice based on evidence and ensure the appropriate amount of context is given should claims not be based in evidence. It is a dangerous world where those with the loudest voices are allowed to promote health claims that are not only unfounded, but are contrary to what the research proves to be true. It is evident you are very early in your personal journey with health and nutrition, and as a result, being uninformed about the truth means you aren't able to appropriately challenge your guests on what they say. It's apparent when you listen to Chris Williamson on his show that he has a lot of experience and background in evidence-based nutrition, training, and health. And as such, he is able to act as a primary filter when guests make claims on his podcast. He can respectfully push back on a guest on topics he feels doesn't sit with the body of existing research, rather than provide an uncensored platform for guests to push their unfounded agendas, which you currently do. That, combined with his due diligence for doing background research on his guests, allows Chris to ask appropriate questions that leads to a balanced conversation and a consistent message throughout his shows that is aligned with the known science. As a result, you're not left confused after listening to the Modern Wisdom podcast. Every show builds on the last and anchors itself around a respect and understanding for the existing evidence, such as calories being king for weight loss. Unfortunately, calories in versus calories out isn't all that sexy, uniquely marketable, or profitable. But it is the truth. So when an expert has a product or a service to sell, they tend to ignore the truth and twist the narrative to increase their sales. Tim Spector being a prime example here. He chooses to ignore and skirt the research on calories to push his agenda with gut and blood glucose testing. Steven, it is evident that you're no expert in nutrition and fitness. It is evident by the way you talk and how easily you're led by what sounds like the truth. As long as an expert appears to speak with confidence and clarity, to you, that's good enough to believe. But you have a duty to question what your guests are pushing as the truth. What's their agenda? How do they benefit by going against the accepted facts? How could their message impact your audience? And could this lead to negative outcomes? So I'll return to the question again, Steven. What is it that you truly value? Is it status, notoriety, and growth at all costs? Or is it education, truth, and integrity? If it's the latter, something has to change. Steven, please get someone on your show that is 100% evidence-based and can set the record straight. I can imagine you'll look at my social media and think, meh, who's this guy? So, my top recommendations as guests for your show are Elaine Norton, Mike Israetel, Menno Henselmans, Ben Carpenter, Dr. Rhonda Patrick, or James Smith, who's been on your show before. My last post has hit 500,000 views. It shows a lot of people care about this and want to see you elevate the presentation of evidence-based nutrition and health on your show. That, or go back to talking about business, which we all see you as a credible voice for. Your podcast's current unchecked additions into the world of health and nutrition podcasting may be doing more damage than good.